Hello, and welcome to Lion's Heart. Thanks for checking in and opening your mind to this episode. So, just going to dive right in. This episode is going to be about emotions and recognizing negative emotions and thoughts and how we can actually eliminate them completely and gain much more freedom and joy and peace in our being and in ourselves, and not be so dependent or reactive to life, like reacting constantly to everything, having life pull us around, but instead be the creators of our own peace and our own joy, which is unshakable from the outside. This inner peace, this rock within of peace, of joy. Obviously, that is a practice and it takes time to cultivate, but it's 100% possible. So the first point here is to just recognize that negative emotions, negative thoughts are 100% not necessary. Like, we don't need to suffer these emotions and thoughts, and they actually play very little significance or importance in our lives and what we're trying to do. For example, we don't need to be afraid of fire to know that we shouldn't touch a hot stove. We don't need to rid ourselves with guilt to know that hurting people is wrong or we did something bad, quote unquote bad. These are actually almost primitive reactions that we've been programmed with. Fun fact is our society is actually not that developed. I mean, we are technologically, but emotionally we're very undeveloped. We're still in the dark ages. And so these emotions like fear and hate and jealousy are very primitive in a way. And they're used to help us survive. So we pick them up in childhood and we use them to survive and to get through life. You know, fear is a very powerful tool for keeping you alive and making sure that you're fitting in socially and all these things. But that said, if fear was gone, you know, we would still be able to survive and do the things we need to do, and we wouldn't have to cripple ourselves with social anxiety. And, you know, it's not really survival fear, like if a lion jumps in front of you and like you're afraid, that's kind of more, you know, natural. But this isn't most people's fear. Most people's fear is social. It's am I living right? Am I a good person? It's self-generated anxiety. And that is the point here, is that they are completely unnecessary, and they're almost like these primitive tools to keep us on track, keep us domesticated. And they're old programs. So the thing that's key about emotions is that we generate them. It's an activity, and it's not something that is happening to us. A lot of the times we think, you know, this emotion, like I'm suffering through fear, or I'm suffering through a bunch of guilt right now, or I have to feel this anger. But what's actually happening is it's an activity. We're doing anger. We're generating fear. We're generating anxiety. We're creating guilt. It's not that these things are just happening and we just have to suffer through it. We're not exactly conscious of how we're doing it or why we're doing it, but a key point is that we're doing it. We're generating it. So we're almost, in a sense, doing it to ourselves. And it's on a much more, you could say, primitive or unconscious level of mind, but it's definitely something that we're doing. Here's an example. Let's say John feels like he is stupid, and he has a belief, I'm stupid and I can't do math. And he's programmed himself, or he's been programmed with that belief because of things that happened in childhood. And someone asks him to do a simple math equation on the board. What is he going to generate? He's going to generate feelings of fear and resistance and maybe even guilt. And let's say we have Kevin on the other hand, who is really good at math, and he's like a math genius. and he's very confident in his math skills. And let's say someone asks Kevin to do a problem on the board. What is Kevin going to say? He's going to say, hell yeah, let's do it. He's going to generate feelings of excitement, feelings of confidence, feelings of capability. So this example just shows that it's not the thing that's happening. It's not like being told to answer a math question is inherently fearful. There's no fear inside of that. The fear is generated from the person that's being asked. Another example, like a snake in itself is not a fearful thing. It's just a snake. But if someone has a fear of snakes, for them that snake is very scary. For someone who doesn't, it's just a snake. So is the snake a scary thing? No, it's just what that is. We create the reaction, the emotion to that thing. Okay, next point is that these emotions are, so you have the thoughts, right? You have these negative thoughts coming up constantly, very irritating. There is not a lot we can do with thoughts. The worst thing to do with thoughts is try to fight them or reason with them or stop them. I mean, this will just give you a headache. What we do with thoughts is you just watch the thoughts. You just notice them. And thoughts are not going to kill you. If they could, everyone would be dead because of the amount of negative, scary thoughts they have. So you just watch the thoughts. You let them go by like clouds in the sky. And with the thoughts, there's always an emotion. No one has the thought, holy shit, I'm going to die, and the emotion of joy with that. No, the thought is linked to the emotion. So you have the thought, holy shit, I'm going to die, and you have the emotion fear. And what you do with the emotion is you surrender to it. You allow the emotion to move through you like water in a river, almost like an electrical circuit in your body. The emotion just moves through and it just flows through you and it releases. So always try to notice the emotion that's linked to your thoughts. Because if you're just saying, I'm having negative thoughts all day, it's very highly likely that you're actually in a negative emotional state, which is creating those negative thoughts. And vice versa, the thoughts can create the negative emotions. But usually the scary thoughts or the self-deprecating thoughts come from the emotional state that we're in. If we were in like a totally joyful state, totally happy state, we would not have, depressing thoughts. We would be having happy thoughts. So one way to change your emotional state is to simply surrender to it, recognize that you're doing it as an activity, and release that emotion. And then below the emotion, even further, deeper into the psyche we go. Below the emotion is the belief. So if we see a tiger, we might create we might have a belief, wow, that tiger is going to eat me. And so we create the emotion of fear. And then we have thoughts, oh my God, I'm going to die, right? So it's this chain almost. But it's not really a chain because it all happens in a split second, in a millisecond. So the key to really becoming free is to go to the root and go to the beliefs. So I'm bad at math. I'm stupid. I create feelings of fear when asked to answer a question. I have thoughts, I can't do this. Everyone's going to laugh at me, blah, 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 when this comes up. So what we can do is watch the thoughts. Everyone's going to laugh at me, make a mistake on the board for this math problem. And then we can go to the emotion that's creating those thoughts, fear, embarrassment, etc., and surrender to those emotions, allow them to be there, let them move through, almost like you're jumping into a parachute through the sky and you're just jumping, you're surrendering into the emotion. And then we can even go further as we're feeling the emotion and say, what belief is creating this? And the belief could be, I need to fit in, right? Because everyone's going to laugh at me because I can't do this math problem. Or I'm fundamentally stupid. Something's wrong with my mind. And that could be a core belief that's creating, these emotions, these thoughts. And actually, does that help you get better at math? Does having that belief, let's say John wants to get better at math, does having that belief help him at all, or does it get in the way? And it's clear that it's a block. So a lot of these times, these beliefs are just these kind of primitive, like childhood things that we've like clinged on to keep ourselves correctly acting, quote unquote, domesticated basically. And now we're adults and we're, 30 years old and we're still scared of math. So these things aren't, you don't really grow out of them. Like they usually are embedded into the psyche. And so the emotions are a great pointer to the beliefs that we can then release and study and let go of. And in this way, we study ourselves and we learn to free ourselves from these, pretty much impersonal childhood beliefs. Like they say nothing about us. Like if I think, oh, I'm not good enough, or girls don't like me, or whatever, and that's a core belief because Cindy Lou laughed at me in 5th grade and didn't send me a chocolate back on Valentine's Day. That and now I'm 40 years old and I can't go on and get myself to go say hi to a girl at a bar. Do these beliefs actually do anything, and are they necessary? And the answer is like no to 95% of them. Maybe there's a few that help us navigate reality, navigate life, but most of them are just these kind of like childhood primitive things that we picked up, and then due to survival, due to how deeply the survival mechanism works in us, we clung onto, and now they kind of are our engine for reality. They're telling us how to maneuver reality, how to stay safe, how to not rock the boat too much and fit in and not get embarrassed and blah blah blah. And if you look at it from this angle, it's really kind of silly. It's really kind of silly and very impersonal. These things, they're just beliefs. They say nothing about us. They're just picked up in life from childhood events, and they don't have anything to do with who we are as a person or what we're capable of. Thus, we can become completely free of them. And lastly, what I'll say on this is one of the most powerful things we can do through this whole process is to just have love and compassion for ourselves, because we are these beings who are just trying to survive, and we're just, we're in these human bodies. We don't know why. We don't know what's going on. We don't want to get hurt. We don't want to get, mess up our lives, etc. So as we work on freeing ourselves, feeling into the emotions, watching the thoughts, questioning the beliefs, where did this come from? Why do I believe this? Is this necessary? Always having love and compassion for ourselves, not making it a thing like, oh, I'm messed up, I need to fix myself, but more of a thing like, what if I can get more free? What if I can feel more joy? Do I need this belief from 2nd grade that I'm bad at math, or Cindy Lou doesn't like me? Are these really necessary? And in this way, we can move closer and closer to freedom, closer and closer to joy and love and everything in between. So thanks so much for listening. Love you guys, and have a great week. Aho.